Hi everyone! I hope you're doing well. Does anybody know where I am? Take a look. I am outside at our Sarah Marie School playground, and that is because the topic this week is Earth Day. So I wore my Sarah Marie School shirt with my big tree on it, and we are going to be learning a lot about Earth Day this week. So I have a really cool story to share with you guys today. And this is called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. And this book has a lot to do with Earth Day and how we help the trees and how we are good to the environment. So I thought it would be really fun since it's such a beautiful day out. You might see me squinting because of the sun. I thought that I would come outside and read the story to you. So if you hear cars going by or birds chirping, that's why I'm outside. This is a really fun thing to do. You should go outside and read if it's nice one day this week. But until then, I'm going to read you this story, and like I said, it's called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Let's begin. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. Looks kind of gloomy there, doesn't it? And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. And what was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows. The old Onefler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onefler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkim on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkim, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of mufford moof. And one special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. So here's where the Onefler lives. See what happened to the Lorax? On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snubby, his secret strange hole, and his groovyless glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Ooh, he looks kind of creepy, doesn't he? Slop! Down sleeps the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onefler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Ooh, now, compared to this page, look how pretty the land is. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile, in the fresh morning breeze. Wow, look at those beautiful truffula trees. And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Wow, look at this. The animals are happy. Fish are swimming. It's a bright, beautiful day. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. So the Onceler came, and he loved the truffula trees. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted a thneed. So he cut down the tree, and with the top of the truffula tree, he made a thneed. Here comes the Lorax. The instant I'd finished, I'd heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. So the Onceler chopped down the tree and then popped up the Lorax. Let's see what the Lorax has to say. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. He's saying, you should chop down the trees to make that. I'm just going to move because the sun's a little bit in my eyes. Let's see if this is better. Yeah, we'll try that. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor silly guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. So the Onceler's getting kind of greedy. He's chopping things down, and the Lorax is saying, hey, don't chop down all the trees. But the Lorax is selling them for money. Let's see what happens next. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Stop, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. So the Onceler now is saying, oh, if I cut down these trees and sell all the thneeds, I'll make lots of money. And the Lorax is saying, please don't do that. I speak for the trees. They don't want to all get chopped down. Let's see what happens. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Look at this, all the trees are getting chopped down. Look at the Lorax, he looks kind of concerned, doesn't he? Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. We were making Sneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Look at this, all the trees getting chopped down. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax, who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies, because they have gas and no food in their tummies." Oh, these poor barbaloots, they eat fruit from the trees, but the trees are all getting chopped down, so they're running out of fruit. Don't they look hungry? They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. So the Onceler was saying, yeah, that's sad, but he also said, I don't really care, because he's worried more about his business than helping the barbaloots. Oh boy, look at the factory now. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the Sneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more Sneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Oh, the Lorax is back. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled and snargled and sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crufulous croak. Onceler, you're making such snogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. So the factory was producing so much smog that it was getting in the swami swans' throats, and they couldn't sing as beautifully as before. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. So now the barbaloots had to leave, and the swami swans had to leave. Shows how important the trees were. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. So not only is he chopping down the trees, but his machines are making lots of different goo. You're glumping the pond where the hummingbirds humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off, oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Look at this water, isn't that yucky? No fish wants to swim in oil and goo like that. Yuck. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. So he's saying, I don't want to stop. I want business to keep getting bigger. He's not worried about others. It seems like the Onceler is only worrying about himself. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. How sad. Last tree, and look at all these stumps. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. So their town was so contaminated by all the smoke and all the goo and no more trees that everyone left. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So he's saying just how important this little boy is, that if he cares, something can be done. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. Plant a new truffula tree, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. I know it's kind of a long one, but the message is so important, right? So sometimes trees do get chopped down, right? But it's always important. A good goal is for everyone that's chopped down, plant 2 more, right? And that is what the Onceler is finally realizing, how important the environment is and how useful these trees are. Not just for business, but the animals need them, right? And his factory was dirty and it made the fishes have dirty water. So everything you do has an impact. And the Lorax really tried to speak that. And now he's saying, unless someone like you cares a lot, nothing will be done. It will not. So I hope from this book that you learn how important you are, and even the little things make a huge difference. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy all of the fun Earth Day stuff we have planned. I hope you enjoyed the Lorax. Have a great day. Bye.